Hunger is rising again. Globally, we're back to levels not seen since 2005. Despite commitments like Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 2, Zero Hunger, progress is slipping. Conflict, climate change, and economic shocks are driving millions into crisis. And the crisis hits close to home. In Malaysia and across Southeast Asia, nearly 1 in 10 adults face moderate to severe food insecurity, driven largely by poverty and erosion of traditional food systems, especially in rural and indigenous communities. The consequences reach far beyond antibiotics. Malnutrition weakens the immune system, worsens chronic illness, and affects mental health. It pulls children back, drains productivity, and deepens cycles of poverty. Without smarter, faster action, food insecurity will continue to grow, pushing more families into crisis and leaving the most vulnerable even further behind.
You might think food insecurity is about not having enough food, but in Malaysia, it's often about not being able to reach it. That's why we are focusing on access. Let's take a step back. Malaysia produces and imports a significant amount of food. However, the people who need it most, low-income families, rural villages, and even some urban communities, often can't access it, making it challenging to achieve SDG Goal 2. Zero hunger fully. Malaysia's food access challenges fall into 3 categories. First, economic access. Food prices are rising faster than household incomes, pushing many families to the brink of food insecurity. Second, physical access. Supply chain often bypass remote or disaster-affected areas, leaving communities isolated. Third, social access. Food aid sometimes misses vulnerable groups, lacks culture-sensitive, or overlook real nutritional needs. Currently, most decisions are based on outdated surveys. They don't show how a flash flood isolated a village or how inflation forces a family to trade eggs for instant noodles. This is where AI and big data come in. By using mobile transactions, delivery routes, and even satellite images, we can map where access is breaking down and intervenes before it becomes a crisis. Because access isn't just about food being there, it's about ensuring people can actually access it.
The Food System Countdown Initiative (FSCI) is a global effort to monitor food systems, focusing on 5 key areas: diets and health, environment and production, livelihoods and equity, governance and resilience. It tracks 50 indicators at the national level for Malaysia, providing valuable insights into food security. However, the initiative has limitations. While it monitors an extensive range of indicators, the tracking system functions more as a passive observer than a live support system, making rapid real-time responses virtually impossible. Data gap exists, especially in child nutrition and labor, and the lack of disaggregated data makes it hard to assess disparities. The framework, designed for global monitoring, may not fully address Malaysia's specific food security challenges, such as urban food deserts or agricultural constraints. Additionally, governance tracking indicates a decline in government accountability, highlighting issues with policy implementation. FSCI primarily reflects past trends rather than predicting future risks. While AI-driven models could enhance forecasting, they are not yet integrated into the initiative. To strengthen Malaysia's food security, addressing these gaps and adapting global indicators to local needs is essential.
As we have heard, addressing food insecurity requires more than good intentions. It demands more innovative solutions. Allow me to introduce the Smart Food Access Network, or SPAN, an AI-powered live dashboard designed to transform how we monitor, predict, and coordinate food security efforts across Malaysia. SPAN is built to tackle the 3 key barriers to access: economic, physical, and social, helping ensure that no one is left behind in the fight against food insecurity. First, SPAN helps make food more affordable through real-time price tracking. Using crowdsourced receipts and wholesale data, it detects when food prices rise above affordability thresholds, especially for vulnerable groups such as the low income. SPAN also helps target food subsidies and tax relief, matching household data from IKASE and the Department of Social Welfare with supplier databases to activate discounted food programs for those in need. And during crises like floods or market disruptions, SPAN can trigger dynamic pricing controls and subsidy activation to stabilize costs. Next, SPAN enhances physical access to food by generating live heat maps that highlight food deserts and areas of surplus across the country. By integrating with logistic partners, SPAN helps coordinate the direct delivery of surplus food to underserved communities. It uses AI to optimize delivery routes based on traffic, demand hotspots, and real-time mobility data, ensuring food reaches its destination quickly. Looking ahead, SPAN supply chain and climate forecasting predict future disruptions such as drought or floods, helping Malaysia prepare for long-term food security challenges.
Let me walk you through how we are structuring the project, how the budget is being used, and how some of the realities that we need to navigate. First, the budget. With $500,000 across 5 years, we really have to be strategic about where goes into our attempt to achieve zero hunger. So $180,000 or 31.9% is invested in the platform development, AI integration, and building out our data infrastructure. $115,000 or 20.4% is for pilot operations. That includes testing, collecting real-world data, refining AI models. Stakeholder partnership and engagement gets $75,000 because without people and organizations working together, no tech can succeed. We have also set aside $100,000 for communications and outreach and $70,000 for project management and evaluations because measuring what works matters. Now, a modest $25,000 or 5% stays in contingency for the unexpected. A breakdown by the years will give us a clearer picture. Most emphasis is placed on tech development at the beginning before reducing gradually, whereas funding for communication and outreach increases with time as the project matures. And there's a tiny bump in year 2 for data collection and pilot operations as we are beginning piloting, but likewise it gradually tapers. Now, let's talk a little bit about the milestones. In year 1, we built the backbone, integrating data, developing our AI dashboard, mapping resources, and getting our pilot partners on board. By year 2, we pilot in one state, activate a rapid response system for crises like flood or price spikes, and learn from it. And year 3, we scale to 5 states with mixed urban and rural communities, fully linking NGOs, government, and the private sector on a live dashboard. Years 4 and 5, the idea is actually for us to expand nationwide, face by face, while continuously fine-tuning based on feedback and outcomes. And about stakeholders, it is a full house. We've got ministries, data agencies, food security councils, right down to the telcos, logistics companies, agri-tech startups, universities, non-governmental organizations, and community leaders. Everyone plays a role because tackling food insecurity needs all hands on deck. Sustainability after the grant ends is also another hurdle because we need this to outlast our 5 years. And of course, unplanned disasters like floods, landslides, or broken roads can disrupt everything. This is why aiming for zero hunger cannot be just a tech project. It must be a people project, and the only way it works is if we build it together.
SPANs align directly with Malaysia's National Agri-Food Policy and AI Roadmap. It integrates with existing public welfare systems, NGO food programs, and disaster response team, making policy more adaptive and inclusive. At its core, SPAN transforms data into action. It tracks disruption, optimizes rural supply routes, and issues preemptive alerts when food access is at risk, whether due to floods, logistic failure, or inflation shocks. SPAN also complements the FSCI by translating monitoring data into operational interventions. While FSCI provides a macro-level view of food system performance, SPAN fills the operational gaps, triggering targeted responses where food access is at risk, ensuring that no community is left behind. Expected impact: up to 20% increase in yields, 30% reduction in disaster-related losses, a smart supply chain that brings food to remote areas 50% faster, cutting spoilage and delays. SPAN also strengthens local governance. Community health workers and local leaders gain access to initiative dashboard and chatbot support to report gaps, request urgent supplies, and coordinate local relief. This is not a parallel system, it's a policy accelerator. By embedding SPAN into Malaysia's food and disaster framework, we ensure the right support reaches the right people before hunger becomes a crisis. Let's move from reaction to prediction that scales policy with precision. Let's deliver food security with dignity.